All right. Howdy, Joe. We're not here, are we?
We are not here. This is a figment of your imagination.
Yes. So carry on as you normally were, but we are going to rewind to a time back in time, which is fun because I'm watching this show definitely I'm going to enter my Joe era and go off topic, but it's kind of on topic and say
Why?
There's a show and it's about Scotland, make Edinburgh, however you're supposed to say
Edinburgh?
Edinburgh.
Is it Edinburgh? Like
it's
bra?
Edinburgh.
With Eden?
They're, see? Anyway, so they investigate, there's a detective investigating cold cases. So why not listen to our episode on Scotland, mate? I don't think they say mate.
And we're going all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah, so now you get another visual too of this crime that they're working. Like since we talked about it and then watching the show, I was like, oh, this is cool. I feel like I know stuff about where they are. Yay.
What's the name of the show again?
Oh, it's called Department Q, which we don't
Department
get anything. Yeah, write it down. But it was pretty. Well, they describe it as a dark and gripping series, and I don't know. It was interesting, but I've been starting to watch more of the overseas. I'm glad they're importing more overseas shows because they are pretty funny, even though I have to look up certain words like what did cab mean or what was the boot. It took me a long time to know
the boot
that stuff was, but I like it.
Well, this is not going to be dark and gripping. This is going to be light and fun. This was our first episode of the Stacking Adventures podcast.
Yeah, way back.
Where adventurer Doug, Mom's neighbor Doug, joined us to talk about his trip to Scotland.
I know. I want him to go somewhere else. That was fun.
That was
fun. Back.
Let's do it. Let's tell Doug to go.
Yeah,
somewhere.
That's not.
I've often thought I want Doug to go somewhere. I've known Doug a long time. Like, Doug, please go somewhere. All right, ready to hit record? Hit play. Hit play on this thing, Crystal.
Hit rewind. Be kind. Rewind like Blockbuster.
Crystal, you ever been to Scotland?
No, fresh out of been to trips to Scotland.
Fresh out of been trips to
fresh out of trips to Scotland. There we go.
Do you? I don't even think that was Scottish. That was English. What was that?
All right, mate.
Are you? No,
I've never been to Scotland, mate.
Well, on today's show, Scotland, from Edinburgh to the Isle of Skye. Today we talked to a stacker on episode 1, Crystal. It's episode 1.
Number 1.
To a stacker who did it all on a sightseeing and golf trip of a lifetime.
And at the end of this episode and every show, you'll hear our gear of the day pick. So if you're looking for best-in-class gear that's worth the price, head to our Amazon page at stackingadventures.net/gear of the day. You'll help the show and help yourself adventure better and for less money, of course.
Ready for adventure? From vacation to staycation, and from the mountains to the beach. This is the Stacking Adventures podcast.
Well, hey there, Adventure Stackers. Welcome to episode 1. Crystal, it's our brand new show. You think anybody guessed what we were up to?
No, of course not. I didn't know what we were up to.
You had no idea.
I just found out what we're up to. Thanks.
Crystal showed up 2 minutes ago. We're doing what? Oh, just read that script,
yes,
Crystal.
You are great at keeping secrets. You are great at keeping secrets.
But you love travel. I love travel.
Oh, yes.
And you've traveled the world.
Yes,
Dubai,
I'm wearing
Japan.
a T-shirt I got from Greece, actually. I don't know what it says either. It's not in English. Don't you love that? When I went to Japan, there were some T-shirts, and we're like, do they know that says the F word in English? Like,
I was about to tell you that story. Yeah, that's a popular thing. They wear shirts with English on them, and they have no idea what it says, and it's not appropriate in Iowa or maybe even in New York City.
Because a lot of them, they say like they'll put meth on it, like drugs, sex, and meth. And I'm like, they don't know what that T-shirt says. That little kid is wearing a yikes.
Ouch. Well, speaking of a drug that just makes everything better, our first guest today is a guy who went to Scotland. It's Mom's neighbor Doug is here.
Woohoo!
Now I'm a drug? Because people can't get enough of me.
Because we just can't get enough, Doug. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you make us feel better.
It's fantastic. You are not the travel fiend that Crystal and I are. You're always like, when we talk about travel over on Stacking Benjamins, Doug, you're always like, oh my God, no, please, no.
I have done, you're right. I have reacted that way in the past. I enjoy travel. It hadn't been a huge priority for me, at least not international travel. Have done an awful lot of travel in the continental US, a lot of that. And I love road trips, but haven't done a lot of international travel.
Well, and for people that are brand new to the show, which is 100% of the people,
present company included.
I was going to say,
we're going to have our adventurers share travel stories. So if you want to be one of those people to share your travel story, take part in our adventure segment, which will appear later on in today's show. And we'll tell you what the adventure segment's about when we get there, Crystal. But Doug, you're going to be our first adventurer. You all stretched out, ready to tell your story?
Yeah, because I am a natural born adventurer.
Did you do the mouth exercises? Remember on YouTube, they had these old school.
Okay. This may be the best episode ever.
No. It's for
I do the alphabet with my tongue.
Is that the Scottish? Is that the Scottish method?
Yeah.
Use the Scottish method.
That's what you learned in Scotland. That's what you learned. Across the pond. No, they don't call that across the pond either.
Well, they do. It's across the pond. It is across the pond.
I'm gonna have a Scottish
Except
reference.
for locks over there. It's across the lock.
Loch Ness Monster. Did you see the? Okay, I won't ask any spoilers. I'll let you tell the story.
Well, you actually can. I think you can ask that one because I know this story. I was surprised by the story. Go ahead and ask it, Crystal.
Did you see the Loch Ness Monster? Did you wrestle it? Did you fight it? Did you
Didn't
slay
even see Loch Ness.
Okay.
Didn't want to.
What?
Oh.
Screw Loch Ness. What has Loch Ness ever done for me?
Tell me I'm supposed to go there, then I'm not going there.
Seriously, why did you decide not to go there?
Well, first of all, it was our route that we had planned sort of went around the outer. We did a circular tour of Scotland, anti-clockwise, as they say there, and which was really coastal. So, and Loch Ness is right down the middle of the country, sort of. And we were going around it. And there was a spot on our drive where we could have turned left and gone back up to it for the sole purpose of being able to say, yep, we looked at water. And yeah, that's called Loch Ness. But other than that, it's just a giant tourist trap. I'd been there 35 years ago, and it was a tourist trap then. And the country has only gotten more crowded with tourists since then. So
you could have gotten a Nessie keychain.
Which is precisely what I didn't want to do.
Well, and then Instagram. I know Instagram. See, if Instagram wasn't around 35 years ago and it was a tourist trap, I cannot imagine what it's like today with Instagram around.
And that's what has happened to the whole country. Is this where we want to start my tour?
No. We just, I know we weren't hitting this, and everybody's going to go, okay, so tell us about when you went to Loch Ness.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to talk about Loch Ness, but let's start at the start. How did you decide to go to Scotland? Let's talk about your decision making.
Well, so this whole thing started off as a trip with my sons, plural, because my oldest son part of his company policy is because they work ungodly number of hours. They are every 3 years, they're given a sabbatical. A 5-week sabbatical, which is nowhere near enough for the number of hours that he works. But, hey, he'll take it.
5 weeks.
So he didn't want to waste that sleeping, which was what I advised. He said, no, I got to go travel. And where are we going to go? And we thought, how cool would it be to go skiing in South America in the summertime? We're all really passionate skiers. We have skied all over the continental U.S. and thought that would be a pretty unique thing to do. Dug into it, and the time we were doing it, couldn't necessarily count on the snow. The resorts didn't quite look like we had hoped they would. And so we thought, what else can we do? We're also, two of us are pretty big golfers. And So we started batting around ideas there. And
so the non-golfer didn't make the cut? Is that what you're saying?
Well, he's just, yeah, I mean, it did kind of work out that way,
didn't matter.
Unfortunately. But he is getting into golf. But he just decided that's a little bit expensive for me for something I'm not totally all the way in on yet. And so he chose not to do that, which, spoiler alert, turned out awesome for me, because that means I get to take another trip with that son who chose not to go on the golf trip. But we ended up golfing in Scotland because we didn't go skiing in Chile.
So you're going to go skiing then with your other son?
No, what he wants to do, because he wanted to travel this summer, he wants to drive the Oregon coast.
Oh, fantastic.
I know it. So we're doing that 2 weeks after Labor Day.
A little bit of similarity. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're not going to have all the forests, but just the beauty and the rugged terrain.
Sure.
You know, what
Coastal.
you saw.
Coast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you saw
you're right.
a lot of that. So
And colors too. Great timing.
it was you and your son. What were you most worried about planning the trip?
What I thought was going to be the most difficult thing was the second most difficult thing, which was getting tee times on the courses we wanted to play. I thought that was going to be the toughest thing to do. But it turned out to be the second most difficult thing. The most difficult thing was getting lodging, because to your point, Crystal, about Instagram, Scotland has turned into an obnoxiously crowded destination for all of the UK, for much of the world, really, but especially the United States. I heard more American accents there than I do here
on this podcast.
Yes. It was unbelievable how many Americans were there, and getting lodging was far more of a challenge than I thought. When I lived there 35 years ago, you just showed up and you'd see B&B on the side of a house and knock on the door and say, "You got any rooms?" And almost always the answer was yes. But if it was no, you just walked half a block up and grabbed the next one. Using Airbnb and Expedia and all the different sources that are available out there on the web, I was searching about 2 to 3 months in advance and was having a hard time finding places in my price range. And on Isle of Skye, which maybe we'll get to later, but on Isle of Skye, which is like the destination of all the places you can go in Scotland, Isle of Skye is the place everybody wants to be. I'm fairly convinced I found the last place for less than $1,500 a night.
The last room.
A night.
Like the last room. Yeah, a night. So there's one main town on Isle of Skye called Portree, and kind of there were 3 or 4 hotels, I guess, high-end luxury hotels, and the cheapest of those per night was $1,500. If I looked anywhere else on that island, it wasn't real. I couldn't find anything for $250, for $350. I was hoping for like 125 pounds, something like that, and found one on the very southern part of the island. And the only bad thing about that is the places everybody wants to go are on the north of the island for the most part. So we were there for 2 nights. The only place we chose to stay 2 nights was Isle of Skye because of the great scenery there. That was a photography part of our trip. We're both photographers. And it turned out to be a fine place. It was called the Bothy. And we learned that a Bothy in Scotland is an abandoned shed. It's an abandoned shed in the middle of nowhere that offers you basic shelter to keep you dry. Well, so this was sort of the Bothy in air quotes, and there are a lot of them. There are a lot of Airbnb hosts who call their rooms above their garages, or truly a room that they've polished up in a back garden shed, the Bothy, but it's nowhere near a real. If you're a hiker and a camper and you're trying to do that in Scotland, there are true Bothys that are used for your shelter for that night.
Mm-hmm.
But in the Airbnb world, there are both these, and they're like this place we stayed in had just been renovated like the previous last winter.
Ooh.
And it was very clean and nice. Smallest shower I've ever been in. Could not raise my hands over my head to wash my hair. My elbows were at my sides, and I was doing this. It was the smallest shower I've ever been in.
Thank God he doesn't have much hair.
Right. That was helpful. You're lucky I took a shower. But but it was a nice place. But it was the last place on the island.
Do you think that it would have gone better trying to find lodging if you'd used a tour service?
Another interesting question. We thought we found a hack. We cheated, and we did. There are a number of golf tour services. I think I saw a commercial on a golf tournament I was watching this past spring. Reached out to them and said, hey, we're looking to do a tour, and we want it to do these couple of courses. After that, find us some courses. They did send us a proposal with a route, and, we'll get you a room here, here, and here, here. And we thought we can do that cheaper ourselves. Like, thanks for the help. Thanks for the hints.
Yep.
Now I think I can put it together myself. And yeah, Joe, you're probably right. They could have probably done all of that. Maybe they've got access to rooms, that they get sort of set aside for them by the hotels because they're a repeat customer. I don't know how that whole world works, but we chose to save some money, and we did. We probably ended up saving $1,000 by not using that service.
That's a big difference.
And golfing more.
That's interesting. When I was listening to a gentleman talk about these Adventures by Disney trips, we'll get into those later on, Crystal, in the season, but fairly expensive trips. But this guy took that trip and he broke the pieces apart to see if he could do all the same stuff. And he couldn't do all the same stuff for the price that he was getting it through Disney. So he was paying the Disney premium. So they were getting, to your point, substantial discounts. But I love that you did the math and thought, okay, this isn't worth it. But because of that there might've been a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, that part's true. So I saved money, but there's a cost for everything in life, right? And the cost was the extra time I had to put in to really find places in or near the golf courses we wanted to play in the towns where the golf courses were. And I was successful in every one of them, but
took time.
But sometimes I had to put a little extra work in. But I had the time to do that, and so that's how I chose to save some money.
Flight's a big part of getting there. How did you arrive? Where did you fly into? And tell us about finding a flight deal, or did you find a flight deal?
I mean, Google Flights, and picked the cheapest one at an airline we'd heard of, which is awesome because it was Aer Lingus, and that's just fun to say, right? I mean, it's hilarious. Aer Lingus.
Aer Lingus.
It's a little bit naughty. So we found that was probably the cheapest. If I remember right, it was probably the least expensive. And I thought, that airline's been around for as long as I can remember. So I thought, yeah, all right, let's do that. It wasn't Ryanair or what's the other super inexpensive one out of Ireland. There's two of them.
Yeah, it wasn't a Value Jet.
Yeah, and those I've heard some scary stories about. So it wasn't
like flying Spirit internationally.
I like Spirit.
It wasn't. But the interesting thing about the flight, as it turned out, we got about a month out, maybe 3 weeks in advance of the trip. My son and I both get this first a text, and we got the text within a few minutes of each other, and then we got an email the following day saying there was an industrial action. With Aer Lingus, and they're doing their best to resolve it. And I thought,
what?
Okay, do
why
your best.
Now?
And industrial is that like a recall on an engine part that you're just going to resolve? And then a couple of days go by, and I thought maybe I should look into what this industrial action is, because I'd like my plane to stay in the air. Turns out that's the phrase they use for a strike. An industrial action is a labor strike, and the pilots had gone on strike. And so Aer Lingus rebooked, or booked for us, I should say, like a private charter jet.
Ooh.
Yeah, sounds awesome, right? Crystal's immediately thinking we're like on a G7 or something like that.
Yeah. Cheers,
nope.
drinks.
It was an old 777, I think. And I'm fairly sure the charter airline was named like What was the company in Step Brothers? Was it Prestige Worldwide?
Oh no,
it was close to that.
Oh no,
we were laughing our butts off because we thought it was Prestige Worldwide, and the crew barely spoke English. They were all different nationalities, yet none of them were really in a command of the English language. And the cool thing was, when we went to check in, we had previously selected seats on Aer Lingus to get next to each other. We both had aisles directly across the aisle from each other. And, but we were in the back of the plane, third from the last row. And when we go to check in, it's a different seat configuration. In fact, on their app, there were no aisles. It was just 10 seats across. If you were in row 2, you were climbing over seats to get to your, according to this seat configuration. And we're like, something's not right here.
There's no way.
Yeah, there's no way. This can't be right. Then we go to the website, and that was a totally different seat configuration. And then we went to a third place. I can't remember what it was. And yet a totally different, like, okay, none of this makes sense. None of these are the same planes. So we just wait till we go check in at the airport. And when we get there, the woman says, let me see what I can do for you. She moved us from the third to the back row to the third to the front row, which was empty because normally you'd have to pay $85 to grab that seat. And we had the whole row to ourselves. We each had our own row.
A row of
to
10.
ourselves.
Jeez.
So that was an upside of that. Aer Lingus flew through Dublin and prop jet from there to Glasgow.
Yeah, but you made it.
We made
it home.
Did you sleep on the plane?
Tried, because hey, we got our own row, so let's lay down and no, because it was an old. That was old 777. The foam on those seats had been well used and compressed. And so when you laid down, all you really felt were the metal frames and seat belts. And
How long was that flight? How long was it?
6+ hours.
Oh, okay.
It's like 6.5. It wasn't awful.
It wasn't
great. It was an overnight flight. So we were hoping to sleep, but I didn't.
I'm going to unrudely, because that's a new word that I made up, unrudely interrupt and get to more of neighbor Doug's Scotland stories. But first, it's time for our road trip pit stop. And on the pit stop, you're always dreaming about what's at the end of the adventure. How cool will it be when we finally get there? Our pit stop is always a hint at our gear of the day, and you can see past gear of the day at stackingadventures.net/gear of the day, all run on sentence, one word. So Joe, what's our hint today?
Yeah, I love road trips, Crystal. You love road trips?
Yes.
So on my you love road trip?
Solo road trips, like other people when they want to stop, and then if I'm not ready to stop, I get annoyed. So I like hitting the road solo.
Which I think what she just said, Doug, is she doesn't like road trips.
That's the opposite of a truth.
I'm fairly certain she just said, nope, I do not like road trips. I like road trips, but without people. And if we get rid of the car, that would be even better.
As long as they're less than 25 minutes.
Yes. I do love road trips. I love the road getting to places. Doug, you like road trips.
Love road trips. There's only one long road trip I've ever been on that I didn't enjoy other than that. And that was driving from Calgary to Chicago, which I think took 99 hours, maybe straight. I'm joking, but it just, you're driving through the least scenic part of North America. But other than that, I've never taken a road trip with somebody I didn't enjoy. So
lucky.
That may help. I'm sure there are horror stories of people who suck, and then you want to get out of the car with them as soon as possible. But Joe, you and I have done some amazing road trips. You got some great music. You've shown me some new songs I've never heard of before. You're talking. You're eating the least
Joe
nutritious food.
Through a road trip.
I know. Well, it was a battle. It was like a talking battle for the two of us.
We played a Trivial Pursuit questions.
That's right.
Doug got nervous with the dude at the border because we were smuggling some Labatt beer into the United States, which the guy proceeded to explain to Doug was no big deal. So just move on.
I don't remember that.
But Doug was very much sweating. I was like,
he
calm
made
down,
himself
man.
look guilty.
It's just beer. Yeah, I got a couple of cases of beer back here. You're going to be okay, son. Move on. Yes.
I don't want a proctology exam.
But I like how honest my buddy Doug was about the beer that we were smuggling through Canada. On this particular road trip, I do love road trip stories too. And this piece of gear fits in luggage, and I like it especially on road trips because, when you go internationally, you're worried about every little thing that goes into your travel bag. And so taking this internationally, I've done it before, but generally I take it on road trips because when we get to the place that we want to go, we use this piece of gear, and it is it really makes the trip better. In fact, on a recent trip, I did pack it on a plane to Boston, and then we drove to this place. So here is today's pit stop question. We drove to a place where the Mayflower landed and stayed briefly. I never knew this. They were actually there, but then they couldn't find any fresh water, so they moved on to Plymouth. But Plymouth wasn't the first stop. What town in the United States today was the place, Crystal, where the Mayflower and the Pilgrims first landed?
Couldn't find fresh water?
They couldn't find fresh water.
Flint, Michigan.
Oh.
Too soon?
Damn. That's a good one. Jeez, I was just
Wow,
thinking...
they made it all the way to Flint.
Right, I was just thinking New York. I don't know if that's geographically possible.
We did a road trip. I'll make it even easier. We did a road trip there from Boston, and it was a nice, beautiful ride. We actually stopped on the way. I'm going to give you a little bit even more. We even stopped in Plymouth, and we saw the Plymouth Rock, which, by the way, for all of you adventurers there, Doug knows where I'm going with this. You don't need to go. You do not need to see the Plymouth Rock.
It's small.
They do have, it is underwhelming. And the story around the Plymouth Rock is it might have been just a stunt by nobody knows that that's actually the rock.
It ain't the rock.
It was a dude a long time later who, to stop overdevelopment, went, no, the Plymouth Rock is here. So who knows
to get
if it was
tourist
the rock.
dollars. Yeah,
but Crystal,
they just
you got an idea? Any idea?
New Jersey?
I think it is not New Jersey. We'll stop there. Doug, I think Doug knows. Does Doug know?
I don't know. Yeah, I had not heard this part of the story, but I think it's going to be, I'll say, like Nantucket.
Very close. It's at the end of Cape Cod, and it's Provincetown.
Provincetown. Okay. Yeah, I knew it was. Yeah.
It was Provincetown, right at the end of Cape Cod, and they ended up going around Cape Cod and in further. But I took this piece of gear to Provincetown, and we'll tell people at the end of the show, Crystal, what it is. But if you've never been to Provincetown, beautiful time, and Crystal, maybe later on we can chat about Provincetown. What's that?
I don't know where that is.
It's right at the end of Cape Cod.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you know where Cape Cod is?
Sure, it's up there north. you go north and hang a right.
That's exactly right. Exactly.
Or yeah, okay, sure.
Right?
And then just go to the road stops and you're in Provincetown.
Any of us, yeah. That's
and you
true
took
for
this
all
piece of
us.
gear to.
I took this piece of gear with me to Provincetown.
Was it condoms?
You will find out later. Wouldn't that be great if our gear of the day,
camera. It was
our very first gear of the day is a fresh pack of Ramsey's Ultras. Because when you need rain gear that lasts.
Oh my goodness.
All right. That is our pit stop.
Rude interruption. Yeah.
Let's get back on the road. Doug, let's go through some highlights. So you make it to Glasgow. Give us a big highlight of Scotland.
Well, wow. It's tough to narrow down because we covered a lot of ground and had a lot of great experiences. I have 2 or 3 that stick out in my mind. One of which was teaching my very much adult son how to drive a stick shift car.
Oh, I don't know either.
And,
in Scotland?
In Scotland.
With a rental
side
car?
of the road.
On a rental car.
On a rental car. Well, of course, if you're going to teach your kid, you don't want to trash your own transmission. You want to do it in a rental car. But, it's nearly impossible to buy a stick shift in the United States anymore. So, that was never happened when he was younger. And that was the reason that was a highlight. And there's some really funny moments there as he was learning. But I realized as it was happening that it might be the last time as a father I get to teach my child something like how to ride a bike or how to throw a ball or something like that. Here he is almost 28 years old, and I'm having one of those father-son moments. And that was, those kinds of things happen when you go on adventures and when you go on long trips like this. You don't know what's going to happen, but there are those special moments that could have happened anywhere here, but it didn't. It happened because we put ourselves in that situation in a different country, in a different place. And it was actually, I can't even say it was a great moment because it took him several days to kind of master first gear and not stall the car. But oh yeah, there were a lot of, why is this happening?
Whiplash.
And he's a kid who is an overachiever, and he is really good at almost everything he tries almost immediately. And he really kind of sucked at this for a couple of days, and he was exasperated. He was so mad, couldn't figure out why this should be easy. And so that was a great moment. There were other moments that were related to golf or photography, but that's one that stands out in my mind because it was just a great father-son moment.
Let's talk about places that our adventurers might want to go. About, there was a golf course in Barora you really liked.
Ooh.
Right.
Barora is how you pronounce that?
You added a syllable. I think it's just, you said it right the first time. Barora, not Barora, but Barora. Fairly far north, not as far north as you can go in Scotland, but which I wanted to do, by the way, but north of Inverness. So pretty far up there. And the great thing about Barora is it feels like you're walking back in time about 120 years or something, because they allow the local sheep and Highland cattle to graze on the course while you're playing.
Interesting.
Yeah, they actually have electric fence wires around all of the greens so that the sheep won't graze on the greens. So that surface stays, playable. But the rest of the course is cattle and sheep everywhere. I was on a tee box and my son took a video of me teeing off, and then he slowly just turned around and 8 feet behind me were two sheep just laying down slowly. Their jaws are moving sideways. They're slowly chewing on grass. They didn't give a rip about me. I'm right next to them, and they're like, "Get it over with, buddy. Come on, we're hungry."
You're their TV. They're watching you.
it was a really cool experience, and that was one of my favorite courses.
There is a famous viaduct that they show in Crystal. Have you seen Harry Potter?
Nope.
You've never seen any of the Harry Potters?
Nope.
Who are you?
I know.
Is this, sorry, did we put Paula Pant on this show?
I know.
We have something else in common.
There's a famous viaduct. You went to see the viaduct that is famous for, and anybody that's seen Harry Potter and the train scenes and it going across this gorgeous, gorgeous viaduct. They also, I think, showed it in Downton Abbey when they went north. I think in The Crown, they show it as the Queen is headed north. If I were, maybe not. But anyway, very famous viaduct. You went there.
Yeah. So that's almost full circle to the story we talked about at the beginning of this about Loch Ness, because on our way, that was sort of towards the end of the anti-clockwise loop we were making. Mm-hmm. And not far from there, we had a choices where we could have turned left to go to Loch Ness. And my son's like, nah, pass. We've seen a lot of lochs and a lot of water on this trip. We don't need to go out of our way to do that. So we turned right and went to the Glenfinnan Viaduct, which is the one you're talking about, Joe. So underwhelming.
Darn.
I wished we'd passed on that. Now, I had gone over that 35 years ago on a train, was half asleep. There was an American couple next to me. I was traveling alone, and American couple next to me woke me up saying, "You got to see this." And I looked back because I was on the correct side of the train, so that as I looked back, I saw the curvature of this viaduct and the train we were on. Super cool when you're on it. But when you go there now, it's a massive tourist attraction.
Darn.
A bunch of car parking lots everywhere, paying, I don't know, $10 or $12 to park there. You're walking up this path with shoulder to shoulder with all kinds of people, and it's just a concrete bridge. It's not this beautiful structure. It's beautiful because of where it is, but the structure itself is not that pretty to look at. They happened to be doing a bunch of work on it while we were there. So there were these scaffolding kind of things, like window washer platforms hanging down from it because they were working on it. So it just didn't look that great. Tons of people. And I would recommend not going to see that. It's pretty underwhelming.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Food. I want to talk about the food.
Oh, let's do that. Yeah, Doug.
Oh, this will be a quick conversation.
Did you love the food?
The food still sucks. With all of the international, I mean, that's the thing, that it's like the stereotype, right? About England is how bad the food is. You'd think they would have learned by now, with all of the tourists coming through and, all of the Americans knowing, how do we cater to these tourists? Nope. They're like, we are sticking to our guns and never using salt or garlic in anything. Like a memo went out to all of the restaurateurs and the whole
no salt,
island.
Garlic, or butter.
Right. It's amazing, amazingly. And you read the descriptions on the menus, and they've, they kind of have a mastery of the English language, so they know how to sell stuff. And you're like, oh, I'm getting that. That sounds amazing. Nope, it was awful. In fact, probably the nicest, the second nicest restaurant we ended up in was night one. Was in Edinburgh, in St. Andrews, at a Fairmont hotel. Fairmont's a fairly high-end hotel chain.
Yeah.
And I ended up, I think it was 38 pounds for prawns. The description was amazing, right? And it was prawns and on a bed of, this amazing pasta of some kind and a tomato sauce that had all this great stuff in it. They were like brine shrimp. They were like canned, these little tiny canned shrimp that were all curled up. There were 5 of them. And I paid 38 pounds. It was bad. That was the worst meal I had there, actually, was at the second nicest place we went to.
Yikes.
You flew into Glasgow. Did you spend any time in Glasgow?
0. Got the rental car and GTFO'd.
What about, obviously, it's known for castles. Scotland known for castles. Did you tour any cool castles?
Didn't tour any castles, but on our drive between St. Andrews and Aberdeen, we stopped in, I'll say a hometown of mine, a hometown of my grandfather's, Arbroath. And then just north of Arbroath is a very famous castle on the coast on cliffs called Dunnottar. And any of you listening have probably seen pictures of it. It's probably the second or third most famous castle, but it's a ruin. But the great thing there was I was able to use my drone and get out over the coast and take it was closed when we got there because we got there a little late. And it was kind of an overcast day, so there weren't a ton of people, but it was really fun to be able to get the drone out and get some great shots of that. And then other castles we drove past, it just wasn't really our thing. It wasn't what we were there for. We were there for more outdoor stuff. So, nope.
Well, let's talk about the golf courses. Which golf courses do you like?
Well, we already talked about Brora, and then we played Royal Aberdeen, which is a super old, very famous course, has had a lot of famous tournaments there. So incredibly difficult. That I actually wouldn't recommend it. It was also very expensive, and I wouldn't recommend it because it's almost too difficult. And then after that, we played this great course in Ullapool, which was like an American version of a Muni. I mean, it was a 9-hole. They had different tee boxes, so you could play 18, and it felt slightly different because holes 10 through 18 were different tee boxes, but the great thing about it was they had an honor box. There's no pro shop. If you were honorable, you would slip some money in this box or Venmo them some money, but you just walked out and played. And it was right on the water. It was like playing on the edges of a fjord in Scandinavia. Wow. Oh, it was gorgeous. Huge mountains coming right down to the water and the little flat spot where the golf course was. And, it was inexpensive. And so that was a great experience. Then we had a couple of days off. That's when we went to Skye and did a lot of photography and had some driving days. and ended up on Isla, which most Americans pronounce Islay, but that's an island off the west coast. And we were at a golf resort there called the Machrie, Machrie, and that was spectacular. That was the second. You asked about golf courses. That was my second favorite after Brora. Brora was so authentic and felt like you were going back in time. The Machrie was just remarkable. Can't say enough good things about that course.
The you are a guy who drinks some scotch.
I'm one of those. Yes, I am.
Did you tour any of the scotch makers?
So didn't really have time. It's funny. I had a mild, as much as I enjoy single malts, and that's an understatement.
Okay.
I didn't book time to do that because I wanted to focus more on what my son's not. He almost doesn't drink. A little bit, but not much. And so, I didn't want to take time to be selfish and go do that for me. I wanted to do things that we both enjoyed. And turns out, if I wanted to tour any of the really well-known distilleries, would have had to make those reservations months in advance.
Oh.
You can't just show up and say, there was one we tried at Oban, and the woman, because we were in town and didn't have much to do there, that was a kind of a wasted day or stop, was Oban for us.
And Oban's kind of a big name scotch.
It is, and they make a lot of other scotches that you've heard of, that distillery does. But the woman sort of laughed at me. I mean, not like a big belly laugh, but she sort of snickered like, "You idiot American. Of course I don't have an open spot."
It's like, being at the Alamo, be like, "Can we see the basement? When are we going to see the basement?" Remember from Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
It was exactly like that, Crystal.
When I was at the Alamo, by the way, we go around to the back of the Alamo, and there's the wall all around it, and these people are letting their kid pee on the wall. Their kid is literally outside peeing on the wall, and there's none of the docents or people around. And I'm just like, "What do you do? What are you doing?"
It seems like a good way to get your 6-year-old put in jail.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. Doesn't end well. But you talked about Isle of Skye being the big attractions where a lot of people want to go. Did you like the Isle of Skye?
Well, it is gorgeous. There's a reason why everybody wants to go there. So, like a lot of tourists.
Define gorgeous. What does that mean?
Well, a lot of mountains and a lot of rock formations that are fairly unique there. Not unique if you've done any traveling in the American West or Southwest, because we have a lot of similar things from a geological standpoint. There is some similarity, but not from a visual standpoint, because American Southwest is all brown and reddish, and this is all green and sort of a dark rock. But so it's not like you've never seen anything like this before, but it is unique because of everything else, the context that it's in. But the downside is all of the people. Like one of the most famous places, there's two really, but one is called the Old Man of Store, and it's a rock spire, pretty large one, that to hike to is all uphill. It's very, it's a bit strenuous. And it was like the Glenfinnan Viaduct. It might have been the most crowded place we went to, and hated all of that because we're there for photography and didn't know that there were going to be 4,000 people there with us. And I don't think I'm overstating that. It was unreal
4,000.
how crowded it was. You just looked up and all you saw were heads and shoulders up ahead of you.
I just pulled it up. The picture of it is beautiful.
Oh, it's amazing. And the photos you'll see from the correct angle are probably going to not have a lot of people in them.
Yeah.
But you have to find a spot to get that right angle, so you're not going to see a bunch of people, or go there in an off season. But if you're there in June, July, August, you're going to be there with all of
America,
Italy, and America.
And Italy.
It was unbelievable. But what we did was just shy of getting to the base of that rock spire. We saw a trail that went off to the left and thought, let's go over there. And within a quarter mile, we probably only saw 2 other people. So we never made it to the base of that, kind of to the end of the main trail, because we got diverted, and we were so happy we did, and got some photography and some time that you just felt like, okay, I'm out here in Scotland more or less by myself. It kind of saved that part of the day. That was that morning. Also interesting, memorable from that was it was blowing steady at 50, gusts to 65 to 70. Ooh. There were times we almost got blown off the trail because we were on these kind of ridges. It was spooky. Wow. And I've done a lot of hiking and been out in a lot of weather, and that was memorable. And it was the only morning we had where it was mostly sunny. Every other morning of the trip started out cloudy and misting rain. And of course, that's when we were golfing. And then the afternoon while we were driving to our next town was when it cleared up. So the best part of the day for most days was when we were in the car. But that day, the morning was nice. We went to lunch in Portree and might as well have been on Mackinac Island. In that town, it's just a tourist town, shoulder to shoulder, restaurants, that kind of thing. And we just sat there and looked on our phones like untraveled places or lesser known places on Sky. And we found a trail south of Portree that had nobody there. And so that was fantastic. Yeah. I see you showing some pictures of Old Man Astoria. Yeah. But the trail we found, coastal trail, also was a lot of vertical, still incredibly windy, but lost the sun. So, and the cliffs were 300 to 400 feet straight down to our right. And so with all of that wind and being right next to those cliffs, there were some pretty scary moments. We almost made it to the very top or the end of this trail, as high as you could have gone. And just before that, the trail had eroded, and we both looked at it and thought, hard no. Nope. Because the penalty for failure on this part of the trail that now was like probably a 25-degree angle was falling off the cliff that, 300 to 400 feet. So it was just, in my opinion, it just wasn't worth it. And my adventurous younger son, like they're usually the ones with the cojones, are like, yeah, we can do it. Let's go. He's like, nope. I'm not doing that. And we turned around and went back because we'd gone far enough. And we were totally alone. Like we got what we wanted out of that adventure. And that was fun because we just made that one up at lunch. Like it wasn't a pre-planned thing we were going to go do. So that felt spontaneous and really fun. On our way down, we ran into the only other people we saw. And it was mom and dad with like maybe their 7-year-old. And I think they were French, but I had to tell them, look, you're going to come to a fork in the trail. Don't go right. And I looked at his daughter and I'm like, it's not safe. And turns out they were maybe Swiss or French. And they got what I was trying to say. I did all the sign language and and all of that. And he figured it out because there was no way you could protect your child on that. You couldn't protect yourself.
Did you go to Edinburgh?
No, it wasn't a city trip. Our goal was, and it's just where he and I are, we don't like cities that much, although he lives in Chicago. But we wanted to get as far away from crowds and cities as we could. It's very difficult to do in that country because of just how much tourism there is. And it's not a big place. I mean, to give you some context, the state of Michigan is about as big. It's actually slightly bigger if you count the water of the Great Lakes and where the boundaries are. It's bigger than all of the UK, not just Scotland, all of the UK. So you got an awful lot of people packed into a relatively small amount of land. Now add tourism in from June through August, and it's tough to get away from folks. So we did not want to go to Edinburgh or Glasgow.
For that reason, you told me ahead of time that you wish you'd packed more hiking clothes.
Yeah, I didn't. I packed mostly golfing stuff and didn't pack enough stuff that I could get outside and get wet in. I had a raincoat, but not enough pants. I had waterproof hiking boots, and that it was really pants. I guess it comes down to didn't pack enough pants for outside.
Any cool souvenirs that you got? Are you a souvenirs kind of guy? I would say no, but
generally not, but I'm going to buy a golfing thing. So I ended up buying some golf shirts that had the name of the course on it. And I finally found a hat. I can't wear hats. Some people just automatically look good in hats. My son does. I don't, so I got to find just the right hat. And finally at that last course we stayed at and played, the Mockery, found one. So I got a couple of quarter zips and a hat.
If you go all the way to, you go all the way to Scotland, though, you got to flex to your friends that I played golf in Scotland. I think.
Well, that is good, but that's a good, like, because now you could wear it on any other course. Be like, yep, I've been.
And a whole bunch of people, Crystal asked me, "Are you going to bring back scotch?" I'm like, "Why the hell? I can buy it here, and I don't have to worry about the bottle breaking in my bag in the airplane
or getting stolen."
Yeah, so no scotch.
I don't know. Nothing's better than Scotch flavored clothing. The smell of Scotch on your clothing. No matter where you go, you'll have people going, "Are you drunk?"
Yeah, exactly. It's 8:30 in the morning, Doug. Why do you smell like that?
And then the last question: how do you normally document your trips? You said you took a drone. Is that your? Do you make a book or anything, or are you just?
Interesting. Yeah. So I'm a pretty hardcore amateur photographer. Have way more gear than an amateur should have, and have a drone and some pretty high end camera equipment, lots of lenses. Brought all of that. So did documentation that way. But honestly, when you're on a golf course or you're doing some of those things, you're not bringing all that gear. So iPhone, it's pretty darn good. It's pretty darn good camera to be able to have while you're doing other things. And then I use the Notes app, the Apple Notes app. And at the end of every day, and sometimes during the day, I am making a quick note of a funny thing that happened, something hilarious that somebody said, something you laughed about. I've been doing that for years. And as a parent and traveling with your kids, it is so valuable to do that. And you can put your photos, the ones you've taken on your iPhone, you can insert those photos right into your notes and the Notes app. So would highly recommend doing something like that. There may be better apps out there for it, but the one that comes with your phone works pretty great. And I've got, I don't know, from 5 or 6 trips, I've just got some amazing memories and hilarious times that you would have forgotten about if you didn't do that.
Oh yeah, I like to do that too with the Notes app, and I write what I spend every day too. How did you exchange money? You just use your card everywhere or cash?
I love that question. 0, did not do it.
Nice.
Because I did a little bit of research ahead of time, and I can't tell you how many people said, "Oh, when either before I left or right when we got there, I exchanged like $100 or got £100, so that would be like currently like $125, whatever," and didn't spend it. Like I got to the airport to leave and still had the same £100. And what am I going to do with that? Because everything is electronic. Buying a candy bar is you use your card. It's all digital. There is no cash. I didn't have a single pound note in my pocket the entire time. And we were there for 10 days.
And the tipping culture is different.
Right. Yeah, the tipping.
Yeah, we were only asked to tip twice, if I remember right. And I think in one restaurant there was a 10% service charge, which is BS. But it was the only 2 or 3 times when there was any added fee on top of. So the dinners felt much less expensive than they do in America. And when you think about it, they were probably 30% cheaper. Because while there's value added tax, or VAT as they call it, automatically added on, it was really just, if it said it was £25 for your entree and £5 for your drink, you paid £30 when you walked. That was what the bill was. There was no spot to add gratuity. It was done. And it really did feel a lot less expensive when you were there. I don't know if it truly was the exchange rate, but I think it was like 30% cheaper for food.
That makes sense.
They make up for it in gas. They get you in gas, though. Gasoline's pretty expensive.
That's where they get you.
That's where they get you.
You did say that. Well, that's cool.
It's a big Scottish collusion. We're like, we'll have them not tip, but we'll get them on the gas. So don't worry about it, everybody.
We're gonna get them some way, somehow.
That's right.
Oh, cool. So now we're hopping over to our adventurer segment. So here's our question for you, our adventurer friends. Have you adventured to Scotland? What happened? Any places that we shouldn't miss, or any experiences that they just quite weren't up to what you hoped they were? We welcome you to hop on our voicemail, and we want you to actually hop. And we want you to leave your top story or your tip at stackingadventures.net/voicemail. The deadline for this is before our next show, so that'll be September 10th, 2024. I don't know what year you're listening to this. It could be way in the future. So you may have missed it. So we want to hear about your Scotland adventure. So please, please, please reach out to us. Again, at stackingadventures.net/voicemail. Super easy to remember.
All right, guys, time for our gear of the day. I mentioned that I like taking this on road trips. I will take it on a plane if I'm not that worried about space, but it really works well on road trips where I'm not that worried about it. We took it to the place where the Pilgrims landed, which is Provincetown,
I forgot, just
Massachusetts. Wonderful, wonderful resort community at the end of the road in Cape Town. We went there on Memorial Day weekend, by the way. And if you go there on Memorial Day weekend, make sure you leave early if you're leaving from Boston or anywhere, because there's one road and you are at the end of it. So it's almost like, Doug will know this reference. It's almost like coming home from northern Michigan on a Sunday afternoon back to the Detroit area.
Yeah.
There is.
Get in line.
I-75 is a parking lot. Yes. Yeah. Same thing on Cape Cod.
But and there's also at the base of Cape Cod where it sort of attaches to the mainland, there's one bridge. And so all traffic has to go that way. So the backup is unreal.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So what's my piece of gear? What do you think I took with me, Crystal?
I think it's some kind of all-in-one charger, headphones, Swiss Army knife.
Oh, I've got some of that. Maybe I'll have to do that later. Doug, you had an idea of what I brought.
Oh, I know what it was.
What was it?
It's your umbrella hat that you take everywhere. Like that thing. It's like a headband that goes around your head, but then it unfolds. It's multicolored. And I mean, you use that thing everywhere, Joe, and it keeps your hands free to do other things. So, I mean, I think it's a great piece of gear.
Although I did have that with me.
Oh, no, you did?
No, I did not. Are you kidding me? No.
These things are awesome.
I have this was the thing that when Cheryl got it for me, I thought, what am I going to do with that? I take this thing everywhere. It is my Sonos Roam traveling speaker. Yeah. Look at how small this thing is. It is so small, but when I go internationally, you know, it's valuable room in your bag. It's a little bit heavy.
We took it to Scotland.
Yeah.
That exact speaker. We have two of those. I put mine in my camera bag. They're heavy because you need that to have good magnets and a good speaker to produce bass. And we used it for about the first 3 or 4 nights. You know, we'd have it in the hotel, and then after that, we kind of just fell asleep.
Yeah, especially when I'm visiting family, or we're going to be in an Airbnb spot where we just want to have some tunes playing while we're playing games. I had my kids with me, and we were in this open area at the hotel, and we played games late into the night and had our little Sonos speaker here. So the Sonos Roam, definitely, Crystal and Doug, not the cheapest speaker. I have another one, by the way. I have a Wonder Boom.
Wonder Boom? Isn't that an adult toy?
It is.
Boom Boom Room.
It's a waterproof. You can actually throw it in a swimming pool, and it's kind of boomy, and it's okay. But my Sonos, much.
That Sonos is, I don't know if you could just toss it in a pool, but it is very water resistant. Like you could leave it out in the rain for a little bit and it'll be fine.
Well, the thing I like about this one, I have the Sonos system around my house. And then it automatically, then when I get home, it also plugs into my system, and it can be like a speaker that adds to the noise wherever I want it. So if I'm in the dining room, it could be an extra one out there, or in the living room, or out on my solo stove. So anyway, our first piece of gear going to be the Sonos Roam. Good.
I never travel with a speaker. That is funny. And my only little Bose speaker I have was the prize from winning the Plutus Award that one year back in 2018. So that is unique.
And that speaker is okay. It's all right.
Right. That's another.
I'm actually a little disappointed in myself at guessing your umbrella hat, because what I should have guessed, which is especially on a road trip for you, I would expect you to bring your solo stove. Because you do everything with that solo stove.
And you know, it comes with a thing that you can, with a wrapper, which is really neat. I'm like, why do I need the wrapper around the solo stove? Well, it's because the solo stove gets all dirty, and you don't want the back of your car dirty. So it's actually to protect your car from the thing. But
a handy carry case.
A handy carrying case for your solo stove. So you can take it anywhere.
Yeah.
You can take it anywhere.
I can take it minis.
4 feet in diameter.
I did take it to a NASCAR race. We were we were camping out at the NASCAR race, and as people were walking by our campsite, people kept going, "What is that thing? Is that a dryer drum? Did you take the dryer drum?
Yeah.
Your
It
dryer?"
looks like that.
I'm like, yes, and the rest of the dryer's in my front yard where it belongs. You know.
Classing up the neighborhood.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, you'll find all of our great gear as we add to this week by week at stackingventures.com/gear of the day. And Crystal, you said we should do this, and hopefully we'll be able to. GOTD. Just make it GOTD.
Oh, yes. I'm like, where are we getting out of?
Yes. So to end show number 1, our takeaways from today's show. Crystal, why would you say, according to Doug, Scotland is fantastic?
According to Doug, I would say Scotland, mate, is fantastic for the golf courses. I'm a very beginning. I've only played 9 holes in my life, so if I want to pick up on golfing, I'm definitely going to Scotland, mate, to do some golfing.
I think what you should avoid, according to Doug, would be either the in-season touristy travel, where you've got just scores of people, or become comfortable with the fact that you're not alone. There's going to be a lot of people there,
alone.
And avoid trying to do things at the last minute. I think Scotland probably sounds like a place where you cannot do things at the last minute. You're going to have to get reservations for whatever you possibly can. But overall, Doug, sounds like a fantastic trip. I think also we avoid riding in the rental car that is a stick when your son's driving.
Yeah, I would highly recommend that. Or don't be behind us.
Oh.
On a hill.
Actually, in the first day we had some time to burn in St. Andrews, and I thought, hey, you know what? This is as good a time as any. You want to give it a shot? So he's playing around with it, thought he had it. I thought he had it. We're out on actual roads, and it stalls right around a blind curve.
Oh.
Yikes.
And I'm trying to keep my cool as a dad, and I don't want to freak him out, but I'm like, we're about to die. And he finally got it going again. And maybe 15 seconds later, a car, like we're driving, and we're at 40 miles an hour, and a car shows up right behind us. So if it took him much longer to figure that out, we would have been in
bumper cars.
Yeah, would have been ugly.
Please share your stories in our community about Scotland as well, or other places. We have a new Facebook page. You can be one of the first people on our Facebook page. It is the Stacking Adventures Facebook page. If you're a member of our Stacking Benjamins community, we'll have the link over to that page there. And we also have an email list that you can sign up for, where we talk about all the great things going on in our community. And that'll be stackingadventures.net/news, signs you up for that. And we're going to have on our show notes page, which is at stackingadventures.net, Doug, you're going to send us some photos from your wonderful trip.
Sure will, Joe.
Crowds of people around the Man of Store.
This guy's having a good hair day.
Isn't he?
What is that?
I think that's the hill that was used for the Windows 95 background for the.
And by the way,
it's just that nice green grass hill.
Yeah, we are looking at a cow.
You're
That's
looking
a
at a
long-haired cow.
That is a baby Highland cattle, and they are actually
beautiful.
pretty grumpy. Like they'll be chill until you get close to them, and then it turns into
Back.
running of the bulls in Pamplona. You don't want to mess with Highland cattle. And that guy, that was about as close as I could get, and that little calf started to go.
Oh. Get off my lawn.
I took the photo and I backed off. Get my 9-iron.
Next week, Crystal, we're going to talk about packing for your trip.
Yes.
What are some of our keys to packing? And you and I have taken enough trips where we have some of our favorite ways to pack, things to pack. And of course, we'll have our gear of the week. All right. She's Crystal.
And I'm Doug.
We'll see you next time.
Joe. He's Joe.
Stacking Adventures. Bye-bye.